Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Yeah, I want to talk about the story. It's not an Australian police story. And I'm watching this video about this American police officer just wildly shooting into a room, cannot see the target, and it was the wrong target anyway, but can't see the target, lets fly 10 bullets in through a wall, through a window. They recommended that he didn't get any jail time at all, which that's what they wanted to see him. They wanted to see him only serve. It was recommended that he only served one day. However, it looks like he's been found guilty. He's the only one so far that's been convicted of anything, been charged with anything, been found guilty, even though there's several officers involved. So let's just check out this video.
Tonight with the sentencing of former Louisville police officer Brett Hankison. Hankison was one of 3 officers who fired into Breonna Taylor's home in March of 2020. But he's the only one of them to be charged and convicted. For violating her civil rights, a judge sentenced Hankison to nearly 3 years in prison. The Justice Department had recommended he receive just 1 day. CBS's Nicole Valdez was in the courtroom.
Say her name!
Outside the courthouse, supporters of Breonna Taylor gathered awaiting the news. Inside, after more than 4 hours, a federal judge sentenced former Louisville police officer Brett Hankison to 33 months in prison. Hankison addressed the court, including members of Taylor's family, saying, "If I knew the facts I know now, I would have never fired my gun."
Yeah, except I come out that doorway, you know what I mean?
Prosecutors say Hankison violated the department's use of force policy when he blindly fired 10 shots into her home without a clear target. Last week, the Department of Justice recommended the judge sentence Hankison to serve just 1 day in prison. Hankison is the only officer who's been convicted for firing his weapon during the botched no-knock raid.
I was banging at the door and she said, "Who is it?" And then I just started shooting.
I want to thank all of the activists here in Louisville, Kentucky, and all across America who kept saying her name for 5 years.
Breonna Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, spoke briefly after the sentencing.
I think the judge did the best she could with what she had to work with.
The sentence comes as the DOJ is shifting away from investigating police misconduct. 2 months ago, the DOJ announced it was beginning the process of dismissing civil rights lawsuits and consent decrees with several police departments, including Louisville. Now, 2 other Louisville police officers that were not ones that responded to the incident are still waiting for their day in court. They're accused of falsifying records that led to the search warrant for Breonna Taylor's apartment. John?
Nicole Valdez, thank you.
Wow. What I find hard there to understand is the Department of Justice recommending 1 day. 1 day. Now, he blindly, that's what the report said, he blindly shot in through a window. Going against police procedure. How can you justify any of that? How can you defend that? How can the Department of Justice come in and say, well, we recommend only 1 day? How is even 3 years? If you're just, so what? He was responding to some call and all the, it was all wrong anyway. But to be shooting just blindly through a window, you've got no eyes on target. You're supposed to... Okay, I was a police officer in Queensland, obviously long way away from America, but heck, you go and draw your weapon. You don't draw your weapon. You don't even start considering the possibility of using your firearm, your sidearm, unless you know there's a definitive threat in front of you. Your life is in danger. Someone else's life might be in danger. You've got to defend yourself. You don't just blindly shoot. I saw another video the other day, a lady, female copper, cars driving past, and this has happened in Australia too. It's not just I've known male police officers that have done this. Anyway, this female officer, cars driving past, she's supposedly trying to stop a car theft. So she's just shooting in towards the car as it's driving away from her into the back of the car, and there's other traffic coming along. She's putting all these other lives at risk. This officer and whoever else is there shooting just in through a window, in through walls, you're putting other people's lives at risk. And yet the Department of Justice thought, well, hey, they only deserve really 1 day. 1 day. That's so. To me, I think 3 years. What I don't understand, like I said, the similar thing we here in Australia with the senior constable. Senior Constable White is his name, Christian White. Okay, he obviously tasered this elderly lady in her 90s. She dies. Then the judge said, well, it's a deterrence. I don't think you should go to jail because that's just for a deterrence. I don't think this will happen again. What about actual punishment for taking someone's life? Since when are we looking at things as it's just a deterrence? And since when are we allowing officers to get away with taking the lives of another human being and not holding them fully accountable for their actions? If anything, they should be held more accountable. They should be held to a higher standard. I was always of the belief when I was in the police, you were held to a higher standard because you're trained, you undergo more training. You were taught these things. You were taught, hey, this is when you pull your gun. This is when you don't pull your gun. You don't go and shoot through a window. You don't go and shoot if you can't see a target. You don't go and taser elderly women with a steak knife and using a walking frame. If it goes against the procedures of the police department, why aren't these people being held wholly accountable and serving reasonable jail terms that the public would find acceptable? And yet we always make these allowances. Our justice systems. I can't believe we did that in Australia. We've done that in Australia. This judge allowed that to happen. He made the decision. And I think it's pathetic that, the Department of Justice over there in America asking, he should only spend 1 day in jail. You took a young lady's life, for crying out loud. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting what's going on over there. And I don't understand why they no longer pursuing these other cases against police. Police cannot be, if something's frivolous, you got to look at things properly and investigate things properly. And something's just frivolous, okay, it gets taken out, but not pursue things at all. If that's what's happening over there, it's unacceptable. Anyway, look, this is all just my opinion. I'm just surprised that you can shoot blindly through a window, don't have your target in sight, go against your own department's procedures, and then for some reason the Department of Justice doesn't even think you deserve to go to jail. And then your jail term is only 3 years. Pathetic. I mean, it is only one person's life, I suppose. Anyway, this is all my opinion. Let me know what you think. I'm Jay Fallon. Go and check out my music. Please give me a like.
Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.